it's just, what the hell? What 10-year-old is asking their mom how much, like, what in the world?
Acknowledge it. Being asked about how much money you made from your child or anyone automatically puts us in our identities. Here's how mine came out there. Like, acknowledging it might actually be the trick, not changing the question. That's Veronica Romney. She's a marketing leader with 20 years experience who is now one of the marketing industry's most successful entrepreneurs and public voices, thanks to her consulting, her training, and her book, Identity Marketing. Today, I'm helping her rework the all-important closer for her keynote speech as we navigate this tricky thing of telling a personal story meant to wrap up a whole speech that somehow connects with the audience, imparts a lesson, and achieves what I call exit velocity. That's what your closer is really for. Not, well, that's my time, or thanks, any questions? You need to end with exit velocity. Hey, I'm Jay Acunzo. I work with entrepreneurs and business leaders and voices to help them package and communicate their expertise to resonate through stronger messaging, stronger speaking, and better storytelling everywhere they show up. I want to make it easier for people with substance to stand out and to connect with an audience. And I believe resonance matters more than reach. Oh, and one thing for clarity. Later in the video, I'm going to mention several times a guy who was buried as a Harley Davidson fan. That's a reference to one of V's signature stories about a man who was buried on his motorcycle. That's how big a fan he was. It's a case study for V's concept of identity marketing, the difference between buying something and being something. We're here, ladies and gentlemen, a real treat today. Veronica Romney, her friends call her V, and she encourages you to call her V too, because she hopes that she is your new marketing bestie. I got to say, I've known her for a very short time. We're already pretty much approaching BFF status here. And, she has done some of the most amazing things I've ever encountered in marketing. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a big round of applause for V. Romney. You come up, you kill it, you kill it, you kill it, you kill it, and then you arrive to this line and scene.
But identity marketing means so much more. Just the other day, I was doing what moms do. I was in the car driving to pick up my 2 man cubs from school in the car line. And as every parent knows, sometimes your children, you've had this quiet day at work. And as soon as they open the door, full volume, full like, Mom. And then sometimes they'll say something, or in this case, ask you something that literally stops time. Because you know that the answer that you give is going to impact how they see the world. And in this case, my oldest, because, it's always the oldest, I know, he gets in the car and he goes, Mom, how much money did you make today? Now, this is interesting. He knows Daddy has a job and has a boss, but he knows Mommy is her own boss. So he really is asking me, Mom, how much did you make today? Knowing full well that I'm in control of my destiny as an entrepreneur. But in this hyper awareness moment in time, I reflect upon that, like, man, this little 10-year-old alpha generation type question, I would never have asked my parents this. Never. The question that I would have asked my parents, or the question they would have asked their parents, is, "Hay comida para comer?" Now, let me translate. "Hay comida para comer" means literally, is there food to eat? Now, my parents are Cuban immigrants who came to this country when my mom was 18 and my dad was 22. This is their kindergarten pictures in Cuba. Now, in Cuba, if you're not familiar with this country, it is beautiful, but the way that it's structured is that food is literally rationed. So it was very common for both my parents to come home and there would not be anything to eat, literally, or the protein of choice was frog legs. Now, they grew up in this environment, but they're one of the lucky ones because they left. My mom left in the Mariel boat lift. My dad was able to legally immigrate into Costa Rica, get his paperwork, and then come into the United States. But when I think about their identity and what they went through, everything about how they self-labeled changed. From Cuban to American, from doctor and trainer to business owner and HVAC contractor, from dependent to independent, from captive to free. So when my little boy asks me, Mommy, how much money did you make today? I know that the answer I'm going to provide him means more than the question he's posing. Because I think you and I both know in the positions that we exercise on a daily basis as marketers, sales professionals, messengers, rainmakers, we know that money it's fluid. It comes, it goes. It's made, it's lost. If we don't hit it in Q4, we'll try again in Q1. If it's not this launch, it's the next launch. But what lasts is identities. Identities last. And so yes, Mommy made money today, but what I actually told my son isn't how much I made, but how many people's identities I got to help change. Because I no longer identify as a buy this marketer. I'm a be this marketer. Are you? Applause.
Applause,
Thank you.
all the money that fall in business. Congrats.
So that's the structure of it.
Yeah, I appreciate that. But I think one of the most important points is I was waiting for you to essentially give me a few word truffles in a row, landing on the truffleiest, landing on the tastiest, right? Which is this idea of don't be a buy this marketer, be this marketer. That's not how you say it, but like that notion, that how you'd truffle it up, I think needs to come last. Adding a few preceding that maybe were said in the talk or maybe summarized points in the talk can be really effective. So like, I'll give you an example. If I were going to do that, I would say something like, and that's the thing about marketing. It's not about getting in front of people. It's about ensuring they care. The three tiniest words with the biggest possible impact on our work: make me care. Don't market more, matter more. Because when you matter more, you need to hustle for their attention less. Don't be the best, be their favorite. Right? So I'm kind of going to give you a few word truffle-y kind of things, and I'm going to end on one that is just the truffle. And I don't think adding an "are you" question is needed there. Although we could debate that, because sometimes asking a question, handing it over to the audience can work really well. I just don't know if that is the question. So it's almost like we're kind of looking at a fork in the road here. How do you rev them up for what I call exit velocity at the very end, where they feel like they want to go run through a wall or at least leap out of their seats and applaud and or talk to you? How do you give them that exit velocity? Because right now when you do the "are you," I kind of felt like you let the air out a little bit. I was leaning in when you started to say, by the way, again, identity. When you move from your story to saying you and I know as marketers, as leaders, as whatever, I was like, take me there. Like, let's go. I'm starting to hear how you wrap this up for me. That was a great story. Now we're back on me, and like, stick the landing. Let's go. And I got a percent of the satisfying conclusion, but I was a little bit eager for more. And I think you have all these word truffles scattered throughout that you can kind of stack in a row to like rev them up.
When I finished the talk and I was just like kind of in the hallways at the gathering, I had a guy come up to me. He's like, so what did you, because I set up the thing where I'm like, my son asked me this question and I knew it meant so much more. And are you this? And he comes to me after, he's like, you never answered the question.
Interesting.
Like, what did you tell him? I was like, oh, shoot. I didn't actually disclose to the peoples what I actually told my son. So I think that part,
that's another place to visit mentally before you put it in the talk.
I remember what I have a distinct memory of is him asking me that question, because I was like, what the like,
well, then if you want to visit that, let's play this forward for the exercise of it, all right? Play the proxy for the audience, because you're saying you're not an email marketing manager. You're also this. Like, you're trying to help them see that it's so much more and it's rooted in identity. Okay, so you have to play that role in the story. So you say like, and all this happened in a fraction of a second. There are two types of responses battling it out to get out of my mouth. The first is Veronica Romney, this individual running this website, founder, this company. Like, the LinkedIn version of you, the job title version of you, the not really rooted in your identity version of you. If that person were to answer, I would have said something like this. But you know what actually happened or actually won out? is my identity. You're not saying these words because it's a little too clunky and straight ahead. But like what you need to then showcase was there's another version rooted in your Cuban heritage and the story of your parents and the story you tell yourself about your parents and yourself. And out came this other answer. If you were going to actually answer the question, you got to showcase that I also could just be Veronica Romney, founder, marketer. But that's not actually how I answered my child because I have this identity.
Yeah, the buy this, be this identity.
Then at the end, after that, you come out of the story by pulling them in a little more to be like, so-and-so wasn't buried as a Harley customer. He was buried as a Harley hog. That was part of his identity, right? And that's the way Harley markets. This example wasn't this, it was that. That's the way that brand markets. You are not just the email marketing manager, you're also this. And if it's going to happen for your customers, it's got to start with us. Something like that. So there's something in here. Like you said, the ingredients are here. And I think the next dish you cook is going to lack salt, but at least the flavors will have melded. And then the third time you do it, you're going to add some salt, right? Like I think we're pushing it forward one healthy step, I think. And you mentioned again in the context to give me context to set up your ending here. Like he's not being buried as a Harley consumer. He's being buried as a Harley hog, you know? And like, I'm sure there's something with all the Ant brand or the Pants brand rather. There's probably a version of that. That's word truffly for all your examples. And then you can transition now to speak more directly to me at the very end.
Okay.
Where it's like, so-and-so, I forget his name, wasn't buried as a Harley consumer. He was buried as a Harley hog. Other example from the brand I think is best behind that story in the talk wasn't this, it was that. Like we all want, now you bring me in, like we all want this, we don't want that. We don't want buyers, we want passionate fans. We don't want website visitors, we want a community. We don't want social followers, we want vocal advocates. This is the central shift happening in the world, happening with these brands, and available to us all if we embrace the power of identity marketing, where you're not a buy me marketer, you're a be or buy this marketer, you're a be this marketer, something like that. So because you add tension and you rev people up and you reflect back what came before. But you have a tendency to have great word truffles. And I'm like, it's dessert. It's time for dessert. Okay. Give me some sweets here. Like at the very end, like don't hold back on those truffles. Like really shave them all on, you know? And maybe you planted them ahead of time so they're familiar and you're just stacking them together, which is satisfying as a viewer because you're like, yes, that line. Oh, I love that line. Yes, that line. Right. And then maybe you have one concluding point that's either the best word truffle or a net new one that ties it all up. But regardless, I think you have a superpower and it's time to almost like unabashedly, even gratuitously use it at the end.
I feel like that's what like there's certain speakers that do that. They talk in rhymes almost, you know, where they're just like line after line, you know, they're not rappers, but they just have these like boom, boom, boom. And you're like, what is happening?
Yeah, yeah. The ending, I don't think you can overuse it. It's like dump out the bag of tricks at the end. It's time to really stick the landing. So like one of mine is like, the problem is not that bots will replace humans. The problem is too many humans are acting like bots, right? And there's like a little inversion statement. Don't be the best, be their favorite. Like there's like a little reflection there too. So like, yeah, you have all these abilities, I think. Obviously, there's lots of little things we could focus on, but I think these are the bigger,
this is big,
more important things. Yeah, yeah.
This
and I think there's
stuff.
a ton here. It's a really strong ending, and it'll be even stronger from here.